first of all, 70 miles an hour, several people go over 70. That's just
Yes.
one thing. But I think brass tacks is the majority of our client base is males, and men think they can do two things great. And one is driving, and the other is, you can
Lifting
imagine,
weights.
sex.
The other
Yeah.
is lifting weights.
No, no,
And
no,
ours,
no.
our client
Well,
base is
well, then there's
exactly the
three
same as
things.
yours.
Three things, and the bottom line is they don't know what they don't know, and they come into this arena, and it's a whole new ball game. And you're exactly right. You have to uh, sit back and understand this is a learning experience, and take everything we have to offer,
Yes.
and go from there. And it's a hard place to be, because you do have to humiliate yourself, and you do have to take the back seat. With that said, we love the women students, and we've seen, Mark, you would be surprised, we've seen as much as the field be 20% women out there, and it grows over the years. And we love the women because they come in without the testosterone and the ego, and
That's what
and
shooting
they can
instructors will
actually,
tell you too.
I hope I don't hurt your audience out there, but women can multitask. Men cannot. And this is something we discovered soon. So anyway, it's such a pleasure just experiencing both angles, and teaching these people, and that's what we really enjoy. So,
Well,
anyway.
you guys do a real good job of it. I like most of the learning, as far as my experience was in the car from Jeff, and the classroom stuff was very informative as well. But most of the takeaway stuff I learned in the car, because that's what I'm there to learn, how to drive. You know,
Well, you may
Right,
say
because
that.
you're touching, feeling, and going through the
Yeah.
motions. But
Right.
what in the 2-day courses, I think you were there just for one day. You had some car issues, but in the 2-day course, you really get into the heads of the students with the class, and the mental set. And that really comes in play behind the wheel. Catherine always, the one reason she was bought into this, she's such a big asset of this, is for the emotional and the mental side of driving. And people don't realize how much that actually plays. People think it's all physical and such, and it's not. It's all mental. It's really a mental game that you have to overcome and hone your skills from. So she can elaborate on that much better than I could. But anyway.
Well, when
So-
you look at statistics, so let's say you're texting and driving, we know that's a really bad thing, and
that's why I quit riding my
accidents.
motorcycle.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't blame you. And so, texting and driving is a bad thing, and accidents happen. Studies show that if you are emotionally driving, let's say you just went through a breakup, or your best friend just died, or you just got a raise and you've been bucking for this raise and this promotion for a long time, you're emotionally triggered. And studies show that you're 6 times more likely to have an accident in an emotional state than when you text and drive. So
Van,
people
when you
don't
text and drive.
understand. Yeah, more than that. And it's amazing because, when you're in an emotional state, you've got adrenaline and you're kind of high on that, and that
you're
takes
distracted.
your thinking power. Yeah, and it takes your thinking power away. So we do talk about the emotional side of driving, and if you talk to any race car driver, they spend a lot of time trying to manage that adrenaline and trying to manage the emotions attached to it. So you get some guy or some woman out there who's very good at driving, they get what sometimes we call red mist. Oh my gosh, I caught that Porsche. I've been trying to catch it for 2 laps, and now I have it. And we get this, what we call red mist, where I want it. And that the emotions go up, the adrenaline is released, and then you start making mistakes because the body takes your thinking power away and gives all the blood and oxygen to your muscle groups where you don't need it, and away from your brain. So I don't care what sport you're in, and even in your situation, Mark, emotions or mental health plays a big role in being, I would say, being able to deadlift something. You can't be, your brain can't be somewhere else. You've got to be totally in tune with your body, I would think.
Well,
So
one of the
we
things
focus on that.
about the way we teach the lifts that makes them much more effective than the way everybody else teaches the lifts is we focus on the actual mechanics of the process. We give you something to think about doing with the barbell as opposed to just picking it up off the floor, which is how it's coached by everybody else. Just pick it up off the floor. Well, no, you can't do that. There's
Yes.
a way to pick it up off the floor correctly, and if you'll focus on these cues, this is what I'm going to do. And it's the third attempt. It's a heavier weight than you've ever lifted before. But you don't think about how heavy the weight is. You think about what you're going to do with it. And